My name is Chujin Park. I'm staff attorney for the Korean American Civic Empowerment. I will be the moderator. I would like to thank you, the audience, for attending this freeholder candidate debate. Also, we would like to thank you all for candidates for accepting our invitation and attending this debate. Yeah, tonight's event is organized by Korean American Civic Empowerment and Korean American Civic Action Committee, and sponsored by FGS KCC. You are here in KCC, Korean Community Center, and Korean American Association of Fort Lee, Korean American Association of Palisade Park, and Korean American Senior Citizens Association of New Jersey. All right, then now it's time for the opening statement. The first speaker will be Mr. Hermanson. You have 2 minutes. When you start speaking, she will start the timer.
My name is Robert Hermanson, and I'm freeholder of Bergen County. And I'm your freeholder, and I'm proud and honored to be your freeholder, and have served for 3 years there in Bergen County. I'm married to a wonderful woman named Cheryl. I have 4 wonderful children, 13, 10, 8, and 6, 3 girls and a boy. When I ran for freeholder, one of the first reasons of why I ran is that my mother, who's a widow and a senior citizen who lives here in Bergen County, has 19 grandchildren that live within 12 miles of her house. One of the reasons why I ran was because I said to her that I would never want to get that phone call telling me that she could no longer afford to live here in Bergen County. Too many of our seniors were moving out of Bergen County because they couldn't afford to live here. So I made 3 promises. And those 3 promises were simple. 1, I would take a 25% pay cut here to represent the people in Bergen County, because I would not ask anybody here in Bergen County to make a sacrifice without I, myself, as an elected official, making a sacrifice first. During that time, and over those 3 years, myself and one other freeholder took the pay cut all 3 years, which made a $21,000 savings right to the taxpayer pockets. And I did the same thing as I was a councilman in Mahwah. I never took my salary, the $7,000. I promised to put the budget online, to do something so that people could see the budget and have open and transparent government. We did that. And I promised pay reform, and we passed that. And that was done this year, and I stand by it. And Kathy Donovan, our county executive, just did the same. I'm running for this for your support. I ask for you to support Peg and I this November to keep doing what we've been doing, 2 years of successive budget decreases.
Mr. Your turn. You have 2 minutes.
감사합니다. First, I want to thank the Korean American Civic Empowerment Organization and Civic Action Committee for organizing this debate this evening, and thank all of you for taking the time to engage in and learning about the issues that are so important here in Bergen County. I also want to thank my family who are on their wedding, obviously stuck in the same traffic I was, for all the support and patience they've shown me through this, my first campaign for elective office. My husband of 19 years, Bobby, and my children, Kobe, Kayla, and Logan, have been so encouraging and supportive of me, really reminding me of why I'm doing this. I've been a judge and a prosecutor. I'm of counsel to the law firm of Fahey, Choi, in Rutherford. I've been involved in my children's schools and charitable organizations and in governmental ones, and wearing all these hats: lawyer, mother, daughter, volunteer, and graduate student in public administration. All of them will guide me in being an effective freeholder. My grandparents emigrated to this country during World War II and settled in Fort Lee, working tremendously hard as factory workers so that they can make sure that their children lived the American dream. And I've borne the blessing of their sacrifices. They were grateful for the liberties and for the freedoms and the opportunities here, and they always impressed upon me the importance of giving back. I've lived in Bergen County my entire life, and I'm running for freeholder because I want to make sure that not only my children, but all of our children can live and thrive in safe communities, both from a law enforcement perspective as well as from an environmental one. That our families can afford to continue to live in Bergen County, making sure that workforce development and job creation are at the forefront, and that we hold the line on taxes by making government smarter. There isn't necessarily a Democratic or a Republican way of paving a street or keeping a park safe, but there's a better way than what we're seeing now from the current Republican administration. We've seen county gridlock and wasting of hundreds of thousands of dollars on unnecessary lawsuits. And we've watched our services slashed while in inaction on important issues. We need new voices and new perspectives on our Freeholder board. Steve and I will provide those voices. Thank you so much. Hope for your support.
Ms. Watkins, 2 minutes. Yeah, it's on.
I'm a first-generation daughter of an Irish immigrant. I was born in New York City, one of 5 children. I graduated from Mother Cabrini School and Mother Cabrini High School. I went on to graduate from Hunter College with a degree in biology. I studied genetics at Fordham University, the University of Colorado, and NYU. I received my master's degree and worked in neuropathology at NYU Medical School. I worked there for a short time and then decided that I would rather go back into teaching. I returned to school and began my teaching career. I taught in the South Bronx for over 30 years and consulted at the same time at Lehman College in various programs. I am currently an adjunct at Lehman College, supervising student teachers and consulting in another program with graduate leadership teachers. I was honored as a Bronx High School Teacher of the Year and was twice nominated for the Presidential Award as one of the top 3 math teachers in New York State. I am married to Bill, a disabled veteran, and we have 4 children, terrific kids. I served on the River Edge Council for 10 years and as mayor for 3 terms, winning 7 elections. I am now a Republican candidate for Freeholder, and these are the 3 principles that continue to guide my actions. I believe that you know better what your family needs better than any government can. Therefore, my aim is to leave you with what you earn in your hands. I believe that government runs best when it is directly answerable to you, the people. I know that a big government is rarely efficient. As mayor, I wrote the letter to Governor Corzine and all the legislators and mayors in New Jersey warning of our impending financial disaster, and I stated that the first step we needed was to freeze all public salaries. I am proud to say the Bergen County League of Mayors supported me in this. I am asking for your support for myself and Rob Hermanson on Election Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tanali.
Hi, John Goss, to you. I would like to thank the Korean organizations for hosting this debate. I'd like to thank the candidates for agreeing to yet another debate. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming out and taking an interest in this race. I'd like to also thank my wife Sharon and my 3 sons Brian, Danny, and Nicholas for their love and support. I'm the second youngest of a family of 5. I have 3 brothers and a sister. And I first got involved in my community as a coach, later became a rec commissioner, then became ultimately the recreation director running our recreation programs in North Arlington. I've had the honor of serving the last 8 years as a councilman in North Arlington. I've also served as both the council president and acting mayor. My entrance into government and politics came when I started advocating on behalf of my neighbors. I have a sense of putting people first. I believe we all have an obligation to care, volunteer, and help each other. I believe government needs to provide a social safety net, as well as vital services such as public safety, expanded opportunities for our children, and caring for our seniors. I'm a Democrat who will compromise with Republicans for the public good, but will never forget my values and principles. I hope to earn your support this November and look forward to having the opportunity to serve as your freeholder.
Thank you. That's our opening statement session. So we will go to the prepared question session. Now, our first question is, according to Census 2010, there are 900,000 residents, more than 900,000 residents in Bergen County. Among them, about 14.5% are Asian Americans, and about 6.3% is Korean Americans. The question is, if you are elected, what are you going to do to improve Korean Americans and minority communities' accessibility to the services provided by the Bergen County? And as a moderator, I want to ask one more thing. When you answer the question in the last, please answer that, what is your best Korean food? So, yeah. The question is this, you understand that questions, right? Yeah. The first person to answer is Ms. Zhou.
My commitment to making sure that there's more access to government is a fundamental one. We have such a diverse county. We've been back and forth over this county, the 70 towns. I've been to the Korean churches and been to Muslim mosques as well as Hindu temples and Sikh temples as well. And we need to make sure that we encourage involvement at all steps along the way and bring people in and mentor them to make sure that they understand the ways that they can get involved in government, and county government specifically. I know that Bergen County, the Democratic Party, has made a very significant commitment. It is a big tent, and we have made sure so many different elected officials in the Democratic Party, almost all of the Korean elected Democratic officials elected to office are Democrats. We've engaged in a tremendous outreach to bring people in, engage in discussions, bring their opinions to the table. I went to the Filial Society and I saw that the ceremony that you had this year was such a beautiful event, really setting an example for how we need to honor and treasure our seniors. These are opinions and voices that we need to hear as we provide services. There needs to be more representation. Individuals who are providing services to the community need to have their voices heard. I know that I was recently at the nutritional site in the senior center in Palisade Park where lunches are provided to seniors. And I know that there's been an issue as far as making sure that there's staff there that can communicate with the people who are being served. I know that will be a priority for me to bring people in at all levels and encourage their involvement at all steps along the way. Thank you so much.
What is your favorite Korean food?
Oh, I like kimchi.
Thank you. Kimchi. The second person is Ms. Watkins.
To make sure I pick up the mic. Anyway, I have to tell you that I'm a very, very firm believer of encouraging small businesses. And I know in the Korean community, many of you are involved in small business. It's very, very important not only to keep you involved in small business, but to keep you viable, to make sure that you have the wherewithal to be there. In other words, you need to have the ability to keep your business running and to keep your taxes in check. So my idea is that we reach out to everyone and we buy in, we work together, and we see the best things that we can do to help each other. After all, we are here to work together. And I have to say that so far, every time I've gone into a Korean business, they are there, people are there working. They work very, very long hours, and they do what they have to do to keep their families going and to keep their business going. It is just really a fantastic sight to see. But I have a problem with some of the things that go on when people don't have enough money to keep the business going. And that may come about as a result of larger taxes. I do think that we need education for Korean American families. The sense that we need to have everybody understand what is going on in politics. In River Edge last year, we translated all of our campaign material into Korean for all of our Korean residents. I know that on the website we have the Korean language now being used so that everything is communicated to the Korean community. It has to be a situation where not only we're communicating, but we have to invite you in. In River Edge, we have elected the first Korean American to actually he's not a Korean American yet, to the school board. And we have supported Philip Kwan in his bid to becoming a justice, and it was just a miscarriage of justice that he wasn't.
Yeah. Next, Mr. Tanelli.
Thank you. Like Tracy mentioned, most of the elected officials in Bergen County are Korean Americans. Also, the Democrats have made some strides on the county level. I'm sorry, I'm screaming into the microphone. Last year, John Hogan our county clerk came to this debate and promised that he was going to get a real outreach individual for the Korean community, and he's followed through on that promise, even though he had to fight every step of the way to have that accomplished. Our Democratic prosecutor also hired a deputy prosecutor to his office. We also have two fine young Korean Americans working side by side with us on our campaign trail since April. And the most important thing is opportunity. I believe everyone deserves a fair opportunity, and I look forward to the day when a Korean American is sitting up here debating for a spot on the Freeholder Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hermanson?
I believe you can judge what we're going to do for the Korean community by what we've already done in the past. First of all, Kathy Donovan and the Donovan administration was long reaching out to the Korean community and doing things that were done before they were required by law. 9.5 years ago, Kathy Donovan hired Esther Chung in her office to work with the Korean community. She also hired the first Central Municipal Court judge, who was a Korean American, in Jae Kim, who ran for surrogate along with Kathy in 2006, who we all supported and supported very strongly. In Woodcliff Lake just recently, the first Korean councilwoman in Woodcliff Lake has just taken a seat. We've done and reached out to this Korean community and have, as I hear on July 11th of 2012, we have now put a resolution through to translate our website into Korean, along with a number of other languages. We also, when we went through Chuseok, handed out my literature and my running mate at the time in 2009 and 2012 here with my running mate now at Peg Watkins in Korean, to hand out, to reach out to the community, to let them know that we care and that we're trying to do the right thing to embrace them into coming in, that we have a big tent. And this is the place for us. We believe that the Korean values and the people who are the Korean small business owners have the same values of the Republican Party. Keep more of what you earn. Work hard. Do the right thing for your families. Education is important. And do what we need to reach out and make sure that what it is that you need is what we need, what we have to deliver. We've done that. And I believe that as I said, we've already led and we've shown this. And we're going forward. In fact, the sheriff has just recently hired the first female sheriff's officer, a Korean American, in Samantha O. I think that what we've done, we've already proven what we're doing.
Yeah. Now, do you want to rebut?
Briefly.
Yeah, you have 30 seconds then.
I just want to point out that it's now the law that we all need to keep our spending within the 2% cap. It comes down to priorities, and I think that our priorities have always been on education, where we have seen cuts to the Bergen Community College budget of over $5 million. We have seen cuts to our senior services. These are fundamental issues for not just the Korean community, but for all of Bergen County, and ones that we, Steve and I, will make sure that we safeguard if we're elected to your freeholders.
Thank you. Ms. Watkins? Yes.
I would like to know how you're going to do that and keep the taxes down so that people can keep their businesses and people will be able to continue to live here in Bergen County. All of the programs you are suggesting, and some of them are already in place, but to enhance them and make them even more viable, you're going to tax people tremendously.
Mr. Tonelli?
Just really briefly, we're in favor of the police merger. We believe that there's cost savings there, as well as we also, Democratic Freeholder Gans, identified $1 million in additional cuts that were not implemented in this year's budget.
I keep hearing about this overspending our budget and the 2% cap that we're supposed to, be like registering your car. I mean, this is a kind of nice tagline to have. A zero is a zero. It's not 2%, it's zero, okay? Lowering your budget 2 years in a row is lowering your budget 2 years in a row. It's not registering your car, it's doing the right thing for the people. When the Democrats took control for 8 years, they raised your budget 8% a year and $170 million in spending. That's registering your car.
Thank you. Thank you, all candidates. I'm a little bit maybe we are already on the second question so really embarrassed, because of you answered in the rebuttal session. So I will go to our second question. Yeah, tax and spending was our second question. We already started discussing about this. Yeah, please tell us your opinion about whether we have to increase our tax or not. And where do we have to find cuts? And where do we have to find spend more. We are really interested in community health services and senior services. So we are really interested in that part. So please answer the questions.
I have to say that it's very, very important to keep the health services going. It's very, very important to keep the community being able to work together, and especially the senior community. And I do know that we have senior outreach for all of the people who are in need. We have bus services in Bergen County, which will take people for doctor's appointments and for shopping and to various organized meetings, even non-organized. They even take them to take people to various social events. The only problem is that you have to notify them well in advance. I think, though, we need to talk about how we can better schedule all of these trips and to doctors, to various community events, so that people will know in a good time so that they're able to attend. As for health services, health is always of the topmost importance, especially for senior citizens. And I do think that we have a very, very good situation now, but anything that can be done to improve it will be a benefit to the community. So I'm very interested in working with the community, with the social services, and with any organization who is willing to come forward and give ideas. As a Republican, we are open to ideas. We do not work lockstep. We think, we find out what the ideas are, and we try to get the one that is best to work for an entire community. If we all had the same thought, then nothing would ever get done. We have to think and work together so that we can have a variety of ideas and pick the best one for you.
Thank you. Mr. Tonelli?
Thank you. Well, first of all, the current budgets have cut senior services, they've cut social services, they've cut education. That's where we differ. We don't believe that those areas should be the areas being cut in a time when we need those services more than ever. As far as things that in the budget to look, when you get into the budget process, you go line by line, department by department to find out what's working. Some of the things that are identified in cutting, travel and meals, $8,000 in iPads, just to mention a few. There's always areas to cut. It's a $500,000 budget. There's definitely areas that could be identified to cut. I don't believe we should be cutting education and cutting our social services and senior services. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hermanson?
We're already doing this. We're already saving the taxpayers' money. For the first time in 22 years, we've lowered the budget 2 years in a row under the Republican leadership under Kathy Donovan, along with on the Freeholder board. We have sat and gone line by line every time, and for 3 years, not just for the last 2, but even when it was Democratic leadership. I wasn't happy with that budget 3 years ago, and it's the reason why that had a different increase than the last 2. We did the same thing in Mawa, and I'm doing the same thing now. You know, some of the things that you have to look at is it's a matter of how you allocate your resources and how you allocate things. You know, when I look at the way things were done in North Arlington, I see that we've had 33% tax increases. That's something that not necessarily that we're going to be looking at here in Bergen County. We shouldn't look at Bergen County. When I look at where we're going, we need to grow the economy. It's about jobs. Jobs, jobs, jobs. This is how you're going to help bring more revenue into the county. You know, we've seen things right now, we've talked about the American dream. One of the things that someone has been talked about is the pipeline. I agree with that pipeline because it brought jobs here. It put our union workers back to work here in the county to make sure that they went back to work to do what they were supposed to do so they could feed their families and take care of their families. When we're taking a look at senior services and going through that, we should be going in and doing what's important and allocate our resources to the things that are most important in those departments. We've done that with Meals on Wheels. We've done that through our programs, one after the other. At this point, you know, when you look at the iPad savings, you know, we talk about iPads for $8,000. We've saved numerous trees. I can't tell you how many reams of paper. And at the same time, that $8,000 that we've spent, we have saved $80,000 in paper savings between toner, cartridges, and service there. So trust me, I'll take the $8,000 investment and an $80,000 savings any day. That's the difference between Republicans and Democrats.
Sure.
Another difference between Republicans and Democrats is that you hired individuals at salaries that far exceeded those of their predecessor. Ed Chwinski's receiving $30,000 more than his predecessor. You have 6 different people who are earning 6-figure salaries who are also earning pensions. It's whether they're retired or they're not retired. The issue is of savings. We have identified more than $1 million worth of savings. It's on meals, on overtime, on travel. I've not seen those paper savings. I still see reams of paper being printed out at freeholder meetings. The reality comes down to one of priorities and one where we're going to spend that money. We saw $25,000 cut to exactly the program that Ms. Watkins was touting as far as rides for senior citizens. We had people coming up to us in Garfield complaining to us that they couldn't afford soup anymore to serve senior citizens soup. We need to prioritize those services. $5 million was cut to our community college budget. $500,000 was cut to social services. There are ways of making this up. That is one of the big reasons why Steve and I have advocated so strongly for the merger of the police department, the county police department, with the sheriff's office. The guidepost study indicates that there could be up to $17 million worth of savings for the taxpayers. And even if not, there's significant savings to be realized by just getting rid of the 2 canine units and the 2 SWAT teams that are available now, as well as the different levels of bureaucracy that are there. We need to make some hard decisions, and we need leadership to make those decisions rather than not have inaction, as we've seen with the gridlock that has currently gone on with the Freeholder Board. There are so many areas where we can save and create a smarter, more efficient, and more customer-friendly government so that we can all have access for the services that we need so desperately for our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Tonelli, 30 seconds.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to address the 33% tax increase that keeps coming up. Just so everyone knows that NCAP, the corrupt NCAP development was down in my community, and that money had to pay them back. So my question for Ms. Watkins and Mr. Hermanson is, would you have stayed in bed with that corrupt developer? Because I've stood and fought by myself to stop that development. I actually drove the development deal, the signed agreement down to the FBI down in Newark for it to be investigated, and ever since then there's been indictments and convictions. So my question is, would you have stayed with that development?
What I understand, we're not answering questions back and forth to each other, so I'll just make sure I'll answer it this way. I believe that $2 million that you were talking about that didn't come from NCAP was bonded. You bonded that in order to go through to protect the $2 million, that when the money came back, you would be able to pay it back to the town. The other money that was there, the 33% increase, was on top of your expenses, not the bonded money from NCAP. You can try to keep saying it and you can keep preaching it, but I think the thing was that if you say it enough times for someone to believe, someone might believe it, but it's not necessarily true.
Just on another issue, I don't like the phrase, would you stay in bed with somebody? Hey, that is totally inappropriate in this venue.
Thank you. So, you want to use 30 seconds?
I just want to point out that when Freeholder Hermanson was the councilman in Mahwah, there was 22% tax increases. There was also 18% tax increases during the time that Ms. Watkins was mayor. The reality is we're all in a brand new world of this 2% cap, and it all comes down to us keeping a lid on spending. We're all going to do it. It's required. It is the law. So the bottom line is that it comes down to priorities and where we're going to place our priorities. As Steve and I have indicated, for us, it's education and senior services. That's not what's been shown by this administration.
Before we start, go to the third question, let me explain this, make it clear that, each candidates cannot communicate each other, but right now, the parties, they are writing something and down and they're not looking at it and doing, so maybe just both parties, maybe you can just communicate each other, but cannot use over time, other person's time. So now actually practically both parties are doing that, so. Maybe you want to make sure that both parties are allowed to communicate between the party candidates. Are you okay? I mean,
That's wonderful. Thank you.
yeah. Don't speak though. Yeah. Our third question is: many Korean Americans are either owner or employees of small businesses in Bergen County. As we know, there are many contract opportunities in the Bergen County for the small businesses. However, not many Korean American small businesses are winning the contract with the Bergen County. We think this happens because of lack of information. So if you are elected, what are you going to do to help minority small businesses to work with Bergen County? That's my question. So the person who answered this question will be Mr. Tonelli. You have 2 minutes.
Well, your question is that you're concerned that the information is not getting out to everyone. That would be the first thing we would need to do, is we need to open a better line of communication. Also, make sure that everyone is being looked at, to make sure that people being picked and what's going on, that the qualifications are there. I think it's very important that everybody gets an opportunity, all the businesses get an opportunity throughout the entire county. I think this is one of the most diverse counties. Tracy and I have gone all over campaigning this summer, and it's just amazing just how diverse we are and just how many different groups there are in this county, and I think it should be open and it should be fair to everyone within Bergen County.
Thank you. And Mr. Hermanson?
One of the first things, like I said, that we could do is what we've already done, is continue to reach out to the community. We have now an Asian American Community Advisory Board that we have to bring in ideas and things that are needed at the business community. Maggie Peters right now, who's working with our Bergen Economic Development, has also reached out and has been trying to reach out to small businesses. Our website right now, it's being translated. We also need to have a way that we can communicate and try to find a way to go back and forth with someone who may not necessarily be able to speak English, but is fluent strictly in Korean, to go back and forth, to have someone who can translate back the information that's needed to those leaders. Those are things that we are currently working on and going forward with our IT department and Mr. Kosmarski. I also believe that when we're looking at BCIA, we had that it failed. It failed on the Democrats. It really did not do what it was supposed to do. And I think that what we need to do is find a better way for BCIA to work with the small businesses and find small businesses to help them grow, to bring in jobs and create jobs. One of the other things that we've done is that the county executive just came back from a trip from South Korea, reaching out to businesses there, to embrace them, to have them come in, to reach out to Bergen community and try to find another home here for their businesses and find ways of doing further trade and further jobs and create further things for the community. We truly are a diverse community here in Bergen County, and these are things that we need to reach out to the community, keep reaching out. We have to find other things that we can do and listen to what you have to say. This is basically a give and take, and a lot of what goes on is about hearing what you have to tell us, not necessarily what we need to tell you, and tell us how we need to get together and work better together. I think that's the most important thing.
Sir?
One of the things we've advocated for since the beginning of our campaign is to have the one-stop shopping spot where businesses can go to get information about different programs that are available, different incentives that are available, space that's available. Really have a place, a centralized location within county government where businesses can go and get the information that they need to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that are available to them. The other thing, one of the other points that we've advocated for is the concept of Freeholder Mobile, where we go out into the community, where government doesn't just come to Hackensack, but it comes out to each and every community. And one of the things I actually agree with Freeholder Hermanson about is it's our responsibility as your representatives to make sure that we're present in your community, that we're listening, and more importantly, that we're communicating all of the different opportunities that might be available, and make sure that we are constantly a resource of information on how to bring people in and how to engage them and have them take advantage of not only the county contracts that might be available to them or the different, but also the different opportunities that are out there for businesses. We have a lot of work to do in that way, and that's something that is critical as we try and get people back to work in this county. So one of the things that we would really make sure of is that the process is always fair, that there's always ears open, and that there's an opportunity for each and every individual in the community to engage in those processes. And that involves, by the way, making sure that everything is in all the languages that it needs to be in order for all the different communities to take advantage of these programs and processes.
Ms. Watkins?
Thank you. Well, as mayor of River Edge, I was very, very available to every single person in my community. Aside from the fact that Tracy keeps alluring to the fact that I raised the taxes single-handedly 18% over 22 years really makes me wonder.
That's 18%.
That's what I said, 18% over 22 years. You're talking back and
I
forth here.
apologize.
Okay? That is totally unacceptable. Under a Democratic council, 6-0, we had a 9% increase. And maybe over the other 21 years that were remaining, maybe there was some increase. But I had 2 years of 0 increases in taxes. At the same time, I was available to every single person in my community, and I will be the same person if elected to Freeholder Board. I will be available to whoever needs to speak to me. I had hours with the mayor every single month, Saturday and Sunday. I had hours before I went to work in the morning and when I came home from work in the afternoon. My phone number and email were published. I wrote my own two-way newsletter. I paid for it, published it, and sent it out to every resident, so everybody knew what was going on. Now, whether I will be able to send out a newsletter to 100,000 people, I don't know. And I did not put it in Korean because at that time I didn't know any words at all in Korean. But if I had somebody who would translate it, I would be happy to do that. But I am telling you that I talked about keeping small businesses going. I need to tell you that's very, very important. We need to build the economy by people working in small businesses. If we don't do that, then we're going to have nothing here. Thank you.
Candidate, do not interrupt the other candidates answering, and you can use your rebuttal time. So if you want to use rebuttal time, Mr.
I just want to correct the record. Ms. Watkins raised the taxes 18% over a 2-year period when it was under Republican control. That's the numbers that I was referring to, not the other 2 zeros. We are all going to, as I said before, work diligently to make sure that there are zeros. We want to make sure that you have as much money back in your pocket to invest and to do what you need to do for your families. But what it comes down to is, Ms. Watkins was correct. We do need to get people back to work, and we need to have a concerted place within the county where we can focus the attentions of all size businesses, small, medium, and large, to put people there. Thank you.
Mr. Manson, 30 seconds.
A couple things. One, we opened a SCORE office right on our floor. And I believe the SCORE office's motto is helping entrepreneurs grow and helping them start and grow their business. I believe that this is the things that we can do and we have to continue to do. We took the Bergen Wellness Program and translated it into Korean so that people have their Korean cards and put it out there for the card they can use for the Bergen Wellness Program. What we've also done is that we've reached out again, like I said, on the community through Philip Kwan and letting people know that what they did to Philip Kwan was wrong and what was wrong on the Democrats for doing it, that this is not the right thing and handle people.
Ms. Watkins, 30 seconds. Yes.
I'm going to start and just say that it's absolutely a fabrication what Tracy is saying. In the 1 year, she said 2 years in a row I raised them 18%. Well, that's a lot of baloney because I only had control of the council as a Republican council for 1 year. So it's really a very, very strange thing. Anyway, I just want to tell you that I will be very happy to work with you in whatever manner is necessary to get you working with the entire county. Thank you.
Thank you. No more rebuttals? Yeah. So for the time management purpose, for the fourth question, I want to limit the time, the answering time, maybe just 1 minute per candidate. For the fourth question. For the fourth question only. Yeah. Recently, Demorest proposed a merger of its police department with the Bergen County Police. As the freeholder candidate, do you support or oppose the merger? And please tell me why. And the first person with the answer is Mr. Hermanson. Mr. Hermanson?
I want to make sure what we're talking about the merger as in Demorest merger or the county merger.
Demorest merger.
Well, I think that the way that works is really it's more up to Demorest than it is us right now. That's going to be something that's going to be needed to be voted on. Once that happens and it goes through, if it's passed at Demarest, then we'd have to come to the Freeholder Board at that point, and not before then, and vice versa. But I'll tell you that what I would look at, and before I go through to make the full decision on it, I'd have to look at everything of where the savings is. And it would have to be something that would save money ultimately for everybody in the community, not just one community. I think it's important that we don't put one community and put the taxes or the burden on somebody else. What we should be doing is reaching out, making sure that we're doing the right thing, saving money for the people in Bergen County, not just one community. But at the same time, I think that what you have to look at is, where we can save money and consolidate things, where we have already done that in the last 3 years. We've done it with resources through the IT department and in the Sheriff's Department and at the prosecutors. That's what we need to do, and we have to do that. That's our obligation as freeholders, to save you as much money as possible by doing our jobs properly.
And Mr. You have 1 minute.
I actually agree with Mr. Hermanson regarding the Demarest issue. It's an issue for Demarest to involve. But what I have very strongly advocated has been the merger actually of the county police with the county sheriff's department. Having been the judge in Central Municipal Court for 5 years, I had the privilege of hearing cases from the sheriff, the prosecutor's office, as well as the county police. And there is a duplication of services there. We've been door to door to supermarkets talking to people. The will of the people of Bergen County is not to get rid of overall their local municipal police departments, but rather to see the dissolution of the county police department and the merger into the sheriff's department. There are savings to be had there, and that is where our efforts need to be put forward. We need to come up with a plan to make sure that this can occur in a seamless way. And I'm very proud of the steps that have been taken to bring this attention to the forefront and make sure that we can start to discuss these issues in a rational way so we can get moving to save the taxpayers of Bergen County money in this area and set an example and not be hypocrites that we're not going to share services at the county level but expect towns to do so.
Ms. Watkins, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. Well, I agree. I do not think that the cost savings to Demarest should be shared with everybody else in Bergen County. I do know that the mayor is very, very happy that he's able to bring in his budget under the cap, but every single town in Bergen County would like to do that. However, when you consider the cost of the county police, it's a lot more than what it is for the sheriff's department. It's going to also cost the taxpayers of Bergen County a lot more money, because if the Demarest Police Department is going to be enveloped with the Bergen County Police, they're going to have the higher salary. We do have to continue working together. I am totally for the Bergen County Police Department being joined with the Sheriff's Department. I don't think we'll have the $17 million in savings immediately. It will take several years before we realize this. But 85% of the people in Bergen County are looking forward to a merger, and I think duplication of services needs to be stopped.
Mr. Tonelli?
I think we finally found something the entire board is in agreement on, the merger of the county police into the sheriff's department and trying to find cost savings for the residents of Bergen County. Tracy mentioned, as we went throughout every town in Bergen County throughout the summer, people are reluctant to give up their own police departments and merge with the county, and that's the option, that's the other option that's been proposed. Everyone we spoke to, they're in favor of merging the county police into the sheriff's department. They want to keep home rule, they want to keep their own police departments. This could set up a very unique situation if the merger is to move forward and Demarest agrees and the Freeholder Board agreed to bring them in. This could make things a little more complicated with the merger, so I think it should be put on the back burner and we should wait and see what happens with the county merger.
Is there any rebuttal? Anybody? All right.
I'm just going to say that I think that what goes on in Demarest, you need to have all the information of what happens there first. I think that what happened in this last situation with the county police was there was no plan. There was nothing out there. Everything was trying to be rushed and forced, and this is exactly what happens when that goes on. You have to have a plan. You have to go through the process and do it right. I think the difference was between a consolidation, which is what people are talking about, and dissolution. I think that the idea of dissolution is a lot different than consolidation, and I think I am also for listening to consolidation.
Yes.
I would have applauded Freeholder Hermanson as the chairman of public safety to actually create that plan rather than just sit on his hands and bemoan the lack of one. This was something that took leadership, and I applaud Chairman Mitchell for actually having the leadership to bring this issue to the forefront. We do need a plan that needs to be actively engaged in, but it's time to have people who are ready to put their nose to the grindstone and get that plan moving for the citizens of Bergen County.
Thank you. Actually, the fourth question was about the merger in Bergen County and the county, sheriff's office, but we will skip the questions and then we will go to the audience question. Since we don't have that much time, we will have only one audience question. The question is, the Korean American Civic Action Committee question. No, they have a question, but it doesn't have the individual's the name. But the question is this: I would like to know what kind of services you, as a freeholder, can provide or improve for women's health. This is a question. For this question, the first person to answer is Ms. Watkins. He's specifically asking women's health, improving women's health.
For women's health, I do know that there is a women's health center in Hackensack, and I do know that they have worked tirelessly with trying to make sure that women have mammograms. They have the Center for Women who are expecting babies. They can go in and have their exams. They are able to obtain vitamins and be checked regularly. And I have to say that anything that we can do, and I know many people are talking about mammograms and talking about all other kinds of tests that women go through, I think it's very, very important. But I have to say also that men need tests too. So I'm not saying they need, well actually they need mammograms too, because men suffer from breast cancer as well as women. And I don't think that we should be sexist about it. I think that the health care of everybody in Bergen County is of top priority, and we need to provide whatever services we can. Of course, I do not know what the cost factor will be with this, but I do know that everybody here would be willing to explore different avenues so that we could give the best for the least cost. Thank you.
Mr. Tonelli?
Thank you. It's my belief, working with the county for the last 8 years as a councilman in North Arlington, I believe the county offers some great programs, working with the local municipalities to not only save money working as a larger group. What I would like to see is I would like to see us expanding some pre-screening opportunities, some early intervention. I believe that the county right now currently has a great program. My town utilizes them a great deal. When I attend the health meetings, that we get grants from hospitals, working with the county and working with our local municipality to offer services for the municipalities. I would like to look and see what towns it's working with and what towns it's not working with, and obviously bring those programs that are working into other towns.
Mr. Hermanson?
First of all, I think that what we have to do is we have to reach out and work with our state officials. We have to reach out to find out what's going on at the state and try to figure out ways that we can help with some of the things that are being provided or that needs to be provided also through the state to work with us. We send a lot of money down to from Bergen County down to the state and get very little back. And what we need to do is we try to find resources and more ways that we can use those resources to bring them back into our own community for the people here who are most necessary. My mother is an ovarian cancer survivor. She's also a breast cancer survivor, along with my sister who was diagnosed with breast cancer at 32. I understand what's important. I have a wife and 3 young daughters. There is nothing more important to me of looking out and seeing what we could do to help for women. Because I think that when we look at the health side of this, one of the things that we've gone through and that I'm very proud of helping with on in Bergen County was with BVMI, the Bergen Volunteer Medical Insurance, for people who don't have insurance, who fall through a donut hole, who go through a process that they are either making too much or not enough in order to get aid. And so what we do is we have a service that's been provided there to give them care, to give them a coverage so that they have medical coverage to go in to make sure that they are healthy and that they're, if there is something wrong, they can go in and take care of their family and take care of themselves first. These are things that we've worked with. These are things that I've done, and I've been part of these programs along with the individuals there with Mike Azara. This is a good program. It's a quality program with Joan Wright, who was very active in doing this, and I'm very proud to be a part of it and doing this. I think we have to do more, and we continue to do more, and any way that possible that we can reach out, we should. And again, I think we need to work with our state officials to make sure that they bring home more money for us here in Bergen County that we deserve as we've been going down to from here to Trenton.
Thank you. Ms. Zhou?
I think part of also what needs to occur is greater communication between our local hospitals. There are so many wonderful programs and things that our hospitals have done to reach out on women's health issues, and it's certainly a dialogue that needs to continue. I recently met with someone from Holy Name who was bemoaning the fact that because of the competitive atmosphere, there's been a loss of communication, and I think the county has a role in opening up that dialogue between the hospitals to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to reach out on women's health issues, but on all health issues. Also, we have a responsibility at Bergen Regional Medical Center, which is our county hospital, to provide for those who are in most need. And we have a responsibility to make sure that we, as we come upon a new negotiated contract that's due to expire at Bergen Regional regarding its management, that we make sure that we set up a more profitable situation for Bergen County, and that we make sure that the hospital can get the renovations that it needs so that it can continue to provide the services that it provides to so many important communities within our midst. Healthcare is an important issue. It is something that, you know, obviously, as with Rob, I have a mom who has survived breast cancer and have 2 young children and 2 young daughters. This is something that's near and dear to my heart, and I want to definitely make sure that women's health is a priority, but also that all of our healthcare is taken care of. Our senior citizens as well, that we make sure that our nursing facility at Rockley remains available as we face this baby boomer generation, and that we have those services available for all of the most needy citizens within Bergen County. That facility remains a facility that's a county-run facility, and that we put the money and the effort into making sure that those services continue to be provided.
Thank you. Now it's time for the closing statement. The first person to deliver the closing statement is Mr. Tonelli. You are the first person. You have 2 minutes.
I would like again to thank the Korean American community for inviting us here tonight, and everyone for attending and taking an interest in this race. This is about priorities. We will cut waste and inefficiencies, but not cut programs most needed. We have a vision for the county. We have an 11-point plan that we'd like to accomplish over the course of our term if we're successful in November. We're not happy with the status quo. We should always be looking to improve the quality of life for all Bergen County residents. The last 18 months, we've witnessed gridlock, $250,000 in lawsuits. It's embarrassing to our county. I believe Tracy and I can do better with your support in November. Thank you.
Mr. Hermanson?
I want to thank the Korean community for having us. I want to thank the candidates for, again, coming to another debate and getting the issues out to you. You know, it's very important to find out what freeholders are, what do we do, and how we spend your money. It's very important to educate. Now, I want to say that when I ran 3 years ago, I made promises, and it was promises made and promises kept. I'm reaching out to the community again to ask you to be your freeholder again for 3 more years. I'm honored to be here. I've been in your community year after year, month after month, down here, doing what I need to do in these centers. I've reached out to the community to find out what it was that you needed, and we've done that. We've gone in and we've put our website online. We've reached out to the community to find out what it is that we need to have to service you and help you. We're doing that. I believe right now that Bergen County is on the right track. I believe under the Donovan administration that we're doing the right things. We have lowered the budget 2 years in a row, and whether my opponent tells me that this is by the law or not, we did it 0, not 2%. And we didn't go 2% last year either. And what you had last year, we had $9 billion that we lost in ratables here in Bergen County. And we lost $9 million in revenue. And we were still able to bring in a budget that was lower than the year before, because it's important to us to make sure that we're spending your money properly. It is your money, not ours. And I make sure that every day when I get up there of how we do this. It is important right now to make sure that you make this decision of where you want Bergen County to go. Do you want it to go backwards, of where we were with 8% tax increases and $170 million, where you had a park that was built for $50 million without a front entrance? Or do you want it to go forwards, to do the right thing of what we've been doing for the last 2 years under the Donovan administration and ourselves? I ask for your support November 6th, along with my running mate, Peg Watkins. I thank you for being here. I thank you for coming out to be part of the process, and have a great night. Sorry, kamsahamnida.
Thank you. Mr.
During this debate, we've only really scratched the surface, and I look forward to continuing this dialogue with all of you. My cell phone number, my email address has always been out on all of our business cards, and I think that communication and this ongoing communication between all of us is what's so very important at the county government level. One of the things I can promise you is that I will roll up my sleeves and set out to create, rather than just bemoan a lack of a plan in any arena. I'm always going to advocate for education rather than watch it be slashed by $5 million at the community college, rather than watch senior services be slashed by $500,000. I will always advocate for our environment and for our seniors. I'll always work to bring the voices of the Korean community and all of the diverse communities within Bergen County to our table. It's more than just tossing out platitudes at this forum or any forum. It's certainly not about making empty promises. For me, I'm genuinely committed to making sure and trying to bring so many talented individuals that I've had the pleasure of working with over my long career into government service, so that we can really see integration at all steps along the way within our government and within our communities. As Steve indicated before, budgeting is an exercise in priorities. We've made it very clear what our priorities are, how we should make sure that we continue focusing on our future, developing workforce development, getting people back to work, retraining them at Bergen Community College, providing for the Bergen Academies. Steve and I have both been endorsed by the Bergen County Education Association precisely because they thought that we had the best vision, that our teachers thought we had the best vision for how to accomplish this task and how to educate our children and how to make sure that remains a priority. So I hope that you see that our priorities are the ones of the families in Bergen County and your priorities as well, and I'll always work to have your trust in that matter, and I hope that you'll support both Steve and I on November 6th. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Ms. Watkins?
Thank you. I have to say that as a Republican candidate, I adhere to the following beliefs, and I'm going to repeat what I stated in the beginning. You know better what your family needs better than any government can. My aim is to leave you with what you earn in your hands. I believe that government runs best when it is directly answerable to you, the people. I know that big government is rarely efficient. And I'm going to quote Thomas Jefferson because my belief is very, very similar to his. I, however, place economy among the first and most important Republican virtue, and public debt as the greatest of dangers to be feared. To preserve our independence, we must not let our government load us with perpetual debt. I am for a government rigorously frugal and simple. I do believe that on Election Day, I would like your support for myself and for Rob Hermanson. But I do believe that we need to know that our economy is very, very, very bad, and we need to do something to improve it. You know that I have my phone number listed, my email is listed. I am willing to communicate, meet with anyone at any time. I won't say any time. 12 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm off limits. Okay? I am very, very proud and humbled to be here. At the same time, I want to thank you for all that you have done for our country and for Bergen County. You are certainly examples to be held up to everyone. Hardworking, industrious, educated, and willing to put yourselves out there. I can say only one last phrase in Korean, kamsahamnida.
Thank you. Before we conclude this debate, actually, I didn't hear from Mr. Hermanson, Ms. Watkins, and Mr. Tonali. You didn't say what is your favorite Korean food, so please answer that.
Well, I say kimchi is very spicy for me, all right? So, but I love Korean barbecue, okay? I'll tell you, at Chuseok, it's one of the best things about being there is
Just
walking
answer
through
the food.
is the smell, all right, of the barbecue. So the barbecue, Korean
Right, thank
barbecue.
you.
I second that. The barbecue is great.
Kimchi, the hotter the better.
Kimchi is the hardcore Korean food. So. Thank you. This concludes our debate tonight.